Hey, it's Dan Leech, and I just want to let you know about a friend of mine, David Fredendall, who is now running for Glendora City Council. And I thought it would be really good to get Dave out to give me a chance to talk to him and kind of get a feel for, what he's wanting to do as city council member, what things he might think need to be done. A little bit of background about Dave. From my position, I've known Dave for years and years and years. He's a great guy, very honest. He'll tell you what he thinks, even though you may not want to hear it. But it's always refreshing to have that particular perspective. So anyway, welcome, Dave.
Thank you,
good
Dan.
to have you. So, like I said, I've known you for 15, 20 years. I mean, since the boys were
It's probably
Cub
been
Scouts?
about 20 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, how do I say this? What could possess you to run for city council? I mean, it's an unforgiving, and you don't get a whole lot of perks in this office at all. So why would you want to do that?
Well, that's a very fair question, and sometimes we might all ask ourselves, but there is no personal agenda at all. I come from a long background of folks in the community doing civic service and joining things or volunteering to do things. And they don't just volunteer, they have always traditionally become leadership in that to try to make a difference to whatever the organization is or the cause. Long history of civic service here in the Azusa Glendora area going back 6 generations. So with that, having done things in the community with the youth organizations and with the Fairmount Pioneer Cemetery, after about 10 years of that, I thought, it's time to perhaps look at a greater picture and learn more about the city. And I've had some encouragement from outside resources saying it might be a good time to expand your service and also learn and bring something to the community. So I'm hoping to do that.
So I know that you've seen city council meetings before. So what was it that you just decided one day, hey, I need to get involved. I need to do this. I want to be a part of this and hopefully move the city forward in a direction that we all want.
I think if I were to look back 40 years ago and coming out of college, I came out with an administrative degree. But really, public administration has had a fascination with me, and if I could start over again, I believe that would be the direction I would go. So consequently, looking at this, and when I see the opportunity, lots of new things, the new district election process.
Actually, that's a little confusing.
It's very confusing. So the city has a lot of firsts. First time a new candidate, perhaps. The district election, our incumbent is retiring.
How does that work with the districts that they have right now? Because this is something that just came out this last year, right, or so?
It is. It's a reaction to avoid a unpleasant litigation process that started a couple of years ago. That is going after many communities in California. So Glendora wisely said, let's not spend money we don't have on litigation that we would likely lose, as an example of a couple of other communities that attempted to challenge it and lost after spending lots of money. So the community went through with help of consultants and established electoral districts, voter districts, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I believe they are spread quite evenly through the city by population and demographics. Has nothing to do with economics or zip codes or geography. It's strictly by population.
So the interesting thing here is that because I live on one side of Barranca and your district is on the other side of Barranca, I can't even vote for you.
Unfortunately, I don't get to earn your vote. Your support, yes, and your networking, but that is true. And it is a little confusing. And I asked a question at a candidate workshop early on. I said, may I expect that if a dividing line of 2 districts goes down a street such as Barranca, that the center line might be the dividing line. And the answer was no, because the LA County folks got involved and approved the final map, and there are actually some parcels in town that are split by the district lines. So you nearly have to go in address by address.
So your wife can vote for one and your husband can vote for the other.
Perhaps, yeah, depending on whether you live in the backyard or not.
Okay.
So you need to look at, if you're on a borderline, check your address on, there's a city website, easy spot to look at to do that, and it will answer for you which district you are in.
I'm still confused, but you know what? I think it'll work out.
I think it will.
People will kind of get it figured out. Yeah.
This particular election is also a little bit unique. There were 3 seats up for re-election.
Right.
2 of the seats were unchallenged incumbents, so they were reappointed by the city council. The 3rd district, District 2, is not being challenged by a sitting incumbent. The mayor is retiring. So it is a campaign and an election, and we are conducting it. So the city is hosting a single district election for the city council.
How many people are involved in that election?
There are 2 candidates.
Okay, so you and somebody else.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, that sounds wonderful. So, you know, Glendora is a small city in relationship to a lot of other cities that are much larger in population. But, you know, every town, every city has its own problems. And some of those are unique to Glendora. Some of those are kind of widespread. One of the things that is becoming more widespread throughout most communities is the homeless issue, and we've had discussions about that. I mean, there's no simple answer to that, and I don't know, has the city council to this point really made any headway in trying to deal with that issue?
They've made a couple of large steps, and if I may back up just a moment, one of the worst things that's happening here in town is perception. And if we don't see as a consumer group quick change or suddenness, like an open-close type situation, and don't have good information telling the truth of what's going on, then we make up our own perceptions based on what we see. That's not an unreasonable anecdote to go to. Unfortunately, the perception is that little is being done, when in reality that's not true. And so one of the things I want to do is figure a mechanism that people will read, because we're learning that they don't look at the papers that come out. They may not go on the website and look at news there. Don't attend forums. Well, you know, you may get 200-300 people at a forum, which is a big percentage, but out of 55,000 people, that's not a lot.
I think that's almost the percentage of people that vote.
Perhaps.
Which is very sad.
It is sad. So then the non-knowing folks perceive their anecdote of what's going on and become unhappy. Fairly so. But so I have learned over the last several weeks, and it doesn't mean I necessarily agree with the path or like the answer, but it's the real answer. And the answer is, we don't have a big bag of money to go out as a community and just start writing checks to say, go hire services or put them on, you know, homeless people, give them a ticket to somewhere. That doesn't work. So what we have, though, is a mechanism through Los Angeles County tax initiatives from the last couple of years, Proposition H, Proposition HHH, that is assessing our sales tax, and a percentage of that goes to into this program. We have learned recently in asking, hey, county, where's our money? And we have learned we don't have that money yet. We have the expectation that we have generated approximately $30 million in those H and HHH funds in Glendora, and we want it back. And if we had the $30 million and 100 homeless is what the count was, that's a lot of money. That's roughly $30,000 per homeless person. We think we could give them the true needs. And the true needs are not just a roof. It's, we need to learn, why is the person living the way they are? Is there something we can do, whether it's a career, whether it's mental health, whether it's addictions, whether it's poor habits, something that we might be able to learn about to find out why are they in this situation and can we help rehabilitate and turn them around, in addition to can we offer them someplace to live. If we had our true revenues gained from the taxes that we are paying, we'd be in much better shape, and the public would not see all these people in our hillsides and on our streets.
Wow.
The money's not coming. It's coming soon because we've just gotten this revelation, and believe me, the city council folks are going after it strongly, and I support that. Get our monies first,
Well,
and then fix
that's
it.
actually encouraging. I mean, most of the time we don't really hear good news.
No.
I mean, it's not good news yet, but it's at least in the process of something that maybe getting done here even this next year.
I think so, within the year, and it's people say, are we going to build a homeless shelter? Too soon to say. We're not sure what those options are. Property is prime here in Glendora. I don't know that we have a lot of spare space to do something like that. So something else that has happened is Glendora has gone into a contractual memorandum of understanding with local communities, being Duarte, Azusa, Glendora, and Laverne, as well as Covina, West Covina, and 2 different agreements to get our H&H money and pool that into one consortium so that we have one agency working for all those communities,
that would make sense, yeah.
not 5 agencies
Right.
working independently trying to resolve the problem.
Right.
So that was the contract that was signed. Now we have to invoice the county to get our money. And I assure you that the city council is smartly looking at, are we getting our due share? Because the fact that the county has grown in this job bank huge, administration's one thing, the tax isn't to pay for administration, it's to pay for programs.
Wow.
So we need to hopefully get those to us.
Well, I mean, I think we're pretty much done. I just wanted to give you an opportunity just to kind of, let people know why to vote for you. I vouch for you, but not everybody may know me. And so just kind of give us a little bit of insight about your family, about anything that you think would be, appropriate to just kind of let people know.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm very passionate about Glendora. I've been in town for 36 years on my generation of living in town. Goes back to the founding families of Glendora and Azusa. And there's some passion there. There's some history there. So I'm very interested in that. Additionally, my wife and I have been married for 36 years and lived here for 34
same people, right?
Same people,
Yeah,
to
there you
each
go.
other. That's right. Not to each other.
We have to be specific about that.
That's right. So we're pretty pleased with that and come from families of long tenure in those areas. We have one son. Grew up and went through Glendora schools and Glendora youth activities. Quite successful. He is operating his own independent insurance agency, a small business here in Glendora. He likes Glendora, came back to Glendora after college, and so he has some vested interest in wanting the perspective to be what we would like it to continue to be.
That's great. Well, thank you, Dave. I appreciate you coming in and letting us all know some things that we didn't even know. I appreciate it very much, man.
Thank you, Dan.